can you share with everybody, I don't know if everybody here knows the significance of getting on the train and taking it down there, about the original train ride.
Oh, yeah, I should. When I mentioned Jekyll Island, there was a number of people chuckled and smiled and so forth. Who here does not know about Jekyll Island? The creature from Jekyll Island. Don't be bashful.
And the Federal Reserve was created there. That's all I know.
All right. Back in 1913, there were some very prominent, very recognizable people, very powerful people, who got on a train up there in Hoboken and took this train ride down to Jessup and then got over to Jekyll Island and met. And they wrote and hatched the idea for the Federal Reserve. And then, of course, it was passed during the Christmas break, when there wasn't a lot of people around in Congress. But they went down there very surreptitiously, disguised, many of themselves. One of them carried a shotgun case, saying, "Oh, I'm just going down there to duck hunt," you know. Yeah, they went down there to hunt, all right. So, anyway, people know that the story. There was a documentarian, Ed Griffin, who wrote a very factual, he's an accomplished documentarian, but he wrote a very factual account of what happened back then. And he has agreed, you know, I'll get on the train and I'll go down there with you. So we'll get hopefully, by getting all of these leaders of these various liberty and freedom-oriented organizations together, it'll have a galvanizing effect, you know, throughout the freedom movement, to know that all of their leaders are actually working together. I mean, who could be against having some people with proven passion for paper ballots and declared wars and privacy and property rights and so forth? Who could be against having these constitutionalists gather to discuss our problems and to settle on some course of action? There's no threat to anybody's, to any organization's identity or their donor base or their membership lists. So who could be against it? And so we're making these calls and they're agreeing. So I'm pretty sure we're going to do this in the third weekend of May. You'll be hearing more about that soon. So all of this is going to happen. It's going to be a Continental Congress. But again, its success depends upon the people in each state. I mean, somebody has to reach out to other people in the state to bring this to their attention and to get them to understand the history of the meeting, the effect and the significance, you know, of the Constitution, and to understand its violations, and to see with facts that the government has been petitioned for a redress of these grievances, and that they have refused to respond, and that we have this right to hold them accountable. The Constitution doesn't defend itself. It just sits there. But it doesn't defend itself. Government doesn't defend it. Corporate America isn't going to defend it. The dominant media isn't going to defend it. It doesn't get defended unless you defend it, the people defend it. And individuals and small groups simply can't make it happen. It's going to have to be by the numbers, or it isn't going to happen. So there's outreach, and then there's delegate selection. As you'll see, hundreds of nominees have already been entered into a database. On our website, you can actually enter yourself or anybody else. Don't nominate anyone else unless you've spoken to them, because we don't want to waste a lot of time. And we've hired a company that's checking each one of those people out, just to find out, just to make sure that they are who they say they are. That's all we're doing.
No government plans.
Then we turn it over to you. Then we turn it over to the state coordinator and the regional coordinators in your state and those who have volunteered to assist in vetting those nominees. And once the people in the state are satisfied, then you post those nominees on your state website. And then there will be a vote. And the vote will be by affidavit. Paper ballot, hand marked, hand counted. Okay, so, and then there's the fundraising. Then there's a fundraising test. Some of these delegates have indicated that they have the means to pay their own way to get there and back and to stay there for 2 or 3 or whatever weeks. But other delegates may not be able to pay their own way. And so the people in the state have to raise that money to help your delegates meet their expenses. And then you're going to have expenses. As you reach out to other people, you're going to incur some expenses, reimbursable expenses. To reimburse those delegates of their expenses and your own expenses as you go around and organize the state, do all of the things that you have to do, you need to raise that money in the state. And so it's outreach, it's delegate selection, and it's fundraising. And we're facilitating all of this. This is not a we the people function. This is not a we the people Continental Congress. All we're doing is saying it's an appropriate next step. All we're doing is inspecting these venues and contracting with them. We'll pay for it. All we're doing is contracting with the company that's going to webcast this every day and the stenographic people that are going to. That's all we're doing. This is not our event. This is your event. You're going to choose the delegates. You're going to send them off. You're going to reach out to the people in the state to keep them informed about what this Continental Congress is, why it's necessary, why it was convened, and all the news that may come out of there every day. It's your job. And in the end, when those delegates recommend a course of action, it's going to require a mass movement. Not a few little tea parties and a few little marches here and there. No. You're going to need 15, 20, or more million people who are saying, we agree. That course of action is necessary, it's justified, and we're going to participate in it together, come hell or high water. And people are going to have to overcome some fear. And it's going to be up to the government then, to decide whether they're going to clamp down or stand down. Because it's going to be serious. But again, we're about to find out. By the time we finish this process, we're going to find out what we're made of and how much we really care, how much the people of this country really care. We're going to go down in history as having preserved it or having let it slide away. It's that simple. As far as the people who run this country, they've already decided it's a democracy. We're already on that slope. Democracy and socialism. They've decided. I was asked at one of these meetings the other day, is there any provision of the Constitution that isn't being violated? And I had a hard time thinking of one. And so that's how they act. But we are the final arbiters. The people are the final arbiters of the constitutionality. And so it's going to be up to us.
All right, let's,
Yo.
you said that you would invite the state legislatures to the con-con?
Yes, it's not a con-con. Oh, no. This is not a constitutional convention. This is a Continental Congress. They are as different as day is from night. A constitutional convention, people get together to either write anew or amend a constitution. We're not interested in amending the Constitution. We're only interested in defending the one we have. I mean, it's not perfect. We can amend it sometime later, but to think that we should amend it now because it's not perfect, what makes us think that the government would
Abide by the next amendment.
would respect or honor the amendment? If they don't honor we need to teach them respect first. Then we can go along and amend it if we want to. So,
is it state? So just state or federal as well?
no, the states. Out of the recognition for the state, we're dealing here with the federal government and its violations of the federal Constitution. But out of respect for the role that the states have been given, they'll be invited to observe, not to participate. So this is one of your tasks right now. We need a name. Well, you'll see as you get involved. There's other states. We've been moving already and getting ahead of some of you that aren't quite up to speed yet. But one of the tasks that we need is the name of every state legislator. And we need it in a format where we can do a mail merge so that we can prepare a letter individually addressed to every one of your state legislators for you to take to your state capital to deliver in that little cubbyhole, their little mailboxes, so that they all get this invitation. And we're looking for up to three of their number to come and observe. Out out of respect.